Dernière escale pour cette matinée, nous nous rendons en Afrique, en Éthiopie plus exactement, où Madame Bender est responsable et directrice du programme Afrique de l'Union pour la conservation de la nature et de la biodiversité. Elle va nous parler de la réserve de biosphère de Kafa, qui est en Éthiopie.
Merci. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Here now comes the coffee to wake you up maybe. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers also for inviting me. And you might have noticed I'm not a native Ethiopian, but actually I supported the area for almost 10 years, in particular to become a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. And I'm actually quite proud to present the area to you today. So now I would like to invite you to a little journey to Kafa. Okay, that was for a little introduction. Kafa Biosphere Reserve is located in Ethiopia at the Horn of Africa in Eastern Africa, and if you travel around 450 kilometers southwest of the capital, you will find Kafa Biosphere Reserve. And you will be amazed, dense forest is awaiting you. And this is really a surprise in Ethiopia because it's one of the last forested areas in the whole country. The area has been recognized as Biosphere Reserve by UNESCO in 2010. It is highland area. It is also part of a hotspot of biodiversity. And it's around 1,800 hectares, 1,800,000 hectares, and 1 million people are living there. The reserve has a lot to offer for a visitor. We have natural highlights there like caves, waterfalls, the forests, of course, hot springs, a lot of wildlife. The lion has now been really discovered in the wet forest. There are also a lot of regional products, wild ginger, wild pepper, false cardamom, forest honey, and there's a lot of ancient and historical values to discover. But the most striking feature, of course, is the wild Arabica coffee in the forest. The area is said to be the origin and the center of diversity of Arabica coffee. It's in fact the world's in situ gene pool to Arabica coffee and therefore is of extraordinary value. Ethiopia is the fifth worldwide biggest producer of coffee, but actually half of the coffee produced in the country is consumed in the country. So what is really a tradition in the country is the coffee ceremony, which is performed at least 3 times a day. It's part of the social and cultural life. People meet to chat and exchange news. And of course, it's also a form to invite neighbors and poorest people and show hospitality. In the countryside, the coffee is still consumed sometimes with salt or butter, and traditional snacks are being served like roasted grains and popcorn. This is a typical wild coffee forest. Once a year, the people go into the forest, the whole family, to pick the red ripe coffee berries by hand. It's then either carried to the homestead or to a cooperative, where it's then dried. This is a very typical, which gives actually the flavor to the coffee from that area, the sun-dried coffee. After this, the pulp is being split off and the coffee is cleaned. And then starts the actual coffee ceremony. The coffee is roasted on a hot pan on charcoal, and then ground and then boiled in the typical coffee pot, the Habana. And before doing all this, there's green leaves and flowers and everything spread on the floor. Women dress up in white. This is very typical, and you can see it really looks nice. And then people consume and taste the coffee in little cups. Nowadays, you can also buy the coffee in Europe by a little German company. Oh, maybe I add, the coffee is certified, organic, and wild and fair. But it all sounds nice, but the forest actually is under threat. Between 1988 and 2008, almost half of the forest was lost. Reasons for this are actually the constant population growth, selective logging, conversion into farmland, and of course agro-investment, like all over Africa and maybe also Asia. The consequences for the forest itself is fragmentation, degradation. We find landslides, and there's of course change of the microclimate, a loss of species, and a loss of ecosystem services for the local people. So if this trend would continue, we might have lost the forest in a few decades. There are actually traditional management and belief systems in place to conserve these forest systems. The area used to be a kingdom for a number of years actually, but was overthrown end of 19th century by Menelik II. And during the kingdom, the forest was actually understood as being God-given, and it was worshipped. And today, people still believe that the spirits of the ancestors of the royal family are in the forest, and the lion actually is also a member of the royal family. And when the lion roams in the forest, people say, "Oh, the king of the forest is around. Let's go home." Some of the forests are really sacred or ceremonial forests. People are not to enter except once a year, when the traditional spiritual leaders guide people into the forest and actually conduct ceremonies. And there are, also, of course, also the normal traditional management systems in place. Normally, the parents inherit a patch of forest to their children, and they keep on or continue with the traditions of the coffee picking and the sustainable form of forest use. Then also the coffee forest owners actually have coffee sharing agreements with other people who do not own forests, so they jointly patrol the forest, safeguard. It's some sort of safeguarding system for the forest. NABU supported the area, as I told you already, for more than 10 years. Starting in 2009, we also started bigger sized projects to sustain the actual Biosphere Reserve with funds from the German government. And the main pillars of those projects are actually always restoration and management of the ecosystems. Then, on the other hand, the regional development and a lot of communication and learning for and with local people. So I think I'm going rather quickly through these activities, because there are a lot. We started in 2009, and we have already planted a lot of forest, but we are going to plant even more. We are taking care of the conservation and management of the important watersheds. We extend the sites which are under participatory forest management, a system which is rather really successful in that area, where communities are trained and then get the right by the Ethiopian government to use the forest in a sustainable manner and take care by themselves. We also do an integrated monitoring with rangers and local people, rather modern, through smartphones. We also have development programs, in particular for women, to give alternative ways of income, and also to actually promote typical regional natural products, market them and sell them. We also, of course, support ecotourism in the area. And we develop alternative energy sources for the area. And we already distributed a lot of energy-saving stoves to families, and they really love it. We also try to increase the biodiversity in agriculture in order to secure food security and also to tackle the issue of climate change. All these project activities are always accompanied by our rangers in the area, which are actually from Kafa Biosphere Reserve, from each municipality. We also try to bring together young people and old people in camps in nature to learn from each other in order to sustain the traditions and the knowledge which is actually there. We try to reach as many people as possible through, for example, the coffee ceremony. And we will form a circle with the traditional spiritual leaders, because those people are really safeguarding the forest. And we try to spread the news and the words whenever we can. So to come to the conclusions, I think I was quick, wasn't I? So the nomination of the Biosphere Reserve itself and our project work actually brought significant positive changes in terms of awareness and also attitudes. But still, the coffee forests are under threat, and I think it's somehow similar to the Philippines and Bali. On one hand, we have the population growth and the loss of traditional management and belief systems, and on the other hand, we have the governmental decisions also on growth issues, on agricultural programs, constructions like road constructions, where the forest then easily is entered. We have a lot of land investment in Ethiopia, so the forest is still decreasing. And there's the issue of the uncertain land tenure. Whenever a farmer converts land into farmland, forest into farmland, then he has the right to use it. So this is, of course, a wrong incentive. So what we would like to focus on is education, communication, and dissemination of knowledge to preserve the area. We actually promote traditional management systems and belief systems, and we try to add alternative sustainable income opportunities. And in particular, actually, the income from the sustainable use of the forest should be the same or even higher than any sort of destructive use of the forest to safeguard the forest. So I hope I could give you a little insight into Kafa Biosphere Reserve, and would end with a few more pictures from the area, a little theater play with children playing farmers and foresters. The cloud forest. people working. Colobus monkey. A forest user group. The system, how people describe what is being used, and then we speak about zoning, like for the participatory forest management or the biosphere reserve itself. The lion. And thank you for your attention.